Have you ever wondered why? No matter how much you visualize, affirm, or push harder, the breakthrough never arrives. The paradox is this: the very effort you believe will open the door is often the static that keeps it closed. In the quantum field, force does not equal power, resonance does. And this is where the ego quietly steps in. It whispers, work more, control more, prove more. But every time you obey that voice, you broadcast lack instead of alignment. You're like a gardener who keeps digging up the seed to check if it has sprouted, so impatient for proof that the seed never has the chance to grow. Here's the truth: many resist. The universe does not reward the one who tries the hardest. It responds to the one who vibrates the clearest. Simplicity is not weakness, it is quantum intelligence. Nature itself runs on elegant equations, not complex rituals. The double-slit experiment shows us that particles collapse into form not through struggle, but through observation, through coherence. Neuroscience confirms the same principle when the heart and brain fall into rhythm. The body exits survival mode and enters creation. Stress, overthinking, and control flood the system with cortisol. Coherence clears the signal. The field mirrors whichever one you embody. Ego doesn't just shout. It often disguises itself as logic, discipline, or responsibility. That's why so many fall into three hidden traps: repeating desires without embodiment, demanding proof before trust, and obsessing over the how. All three create noise. All three collapse possibility back into the familiar. And yet, the moment you step beyond them, even for a breath, you discover something stunning. Manifestation is not complicated. It was always meant to be effortless. Think of the difference between a flashlight and the sun. The ego focuses narrowly, chasing, calculating, forcing. The higher self radiates in all directions, touching everything at once. When you move from the flashlight into the sun, manifestation stops being a struggle and starts becoming a natural unfolding. You feel lighter, broader, inevitable. You no longer ask, when will it happen? You begin to live in the knowing that it already is. So here is the invitation: let go of the ego's need for complexity. Anchor yourself daily in coherence with your breath, with your heart, with the quiet declaration: I release control. That single choice transforms noise into clarity. And clarity is the only language the universe understands. Beyond the ego, you'll find what mystics, scientists, and children have always known: simplicity collapses miracles. The ego hates simplicity because simplicity makes it irrelevant. When things flow easily, when results unfold without resistance, the ego has no role to play, so it invents complexity. It convinces you that if one ritual is good, 5 must be better. If one affirmation feels right, then 30 pages of affirmations will surely force the universe to listen. But the field does not respond to effort. It responds to coherence. Think of nature. The most powerful laws of physics are also the simplest. Einstein's equation, E=mc2, distills an entire universe of matter and energy into a few elegant symbols. Quantum mechanics shows us that a particle collapses into matter not through force, but through the simple act of observation. Coherence is the hidden order beneath what looks like chaos. The simpler the signal, the faster reality organizes around it. Why, then, do we complicate? Because the nervous system has been conditioned to feel unsafe in stillness. Many of us grew up equating busyness with worth. When nothing is happening, the body whispers danger. Stress hormones rise. And to soothe the discomfort, the ego creates more tasks, more lists, more strategies, anything to avoid simplicity. Yet each added step sends out the vibration, I don't have it yet. I must do more to get it. And that signal keeps your desire out of reach. Science has measured what spiritual teachers intuited long ago. The HeartMath Institute discovered that when the heart's rhythm becomes smooth and ordered, the brain synchronizes. This state, called heart-brain coherence, allows the nervous system to exit survival mode and enter creation mode. In coherence, the body no longer broadcasts stress but harmony. And harmony is magnetic. Synchronicities appear, healing accelerates. Doors open without effort, not because you fought harder, but because you aligned clearer. The ego, however, misinterprets allowing as weakness. It whispers, if I stop pushing, nothing will happen. But physics tells a different story. Energy always flows along the path of least resistance. When your energy is simple, when your signal is clean, the universe reflects it back with precision. When your energy is cluttered with conditions, timelines, and doubt, the universe mirrors that confusion. Look at children. They don't complicate. They imagine. They feel. They play. Their hearts are coherent. Their desires are immediate because their vibration is simple. They don't add layers of logic. If I don't say this 10 more times, it won't work. They simply embody the feeling of having it, and reality bends to match. So ask yourself, where have you added noise to what was always meant to be effortless? What would this look like if it were simple? That single question can silence the ego's chatter and open the door to coherence. Simplicity is not laziness. Simplicity is alignment. It is the most intelligent way the universe operates. The shortest distance between you and your desire has always been a straight line. Your ego just convinced you it had to be a maze. Be honest, how many nights have you lain awake? Replaying the same loop of thoughts, you set an intention. But within minutes, the questions rise. When will it happen? How will it happen? What if it doesn't happen at all? This is the ego dressed as responsibility. It feels like preparation. But in truth, it is overthinking. And overthinking is one of the greatest blocks to manifestation. Here's why. The brain is a prediction machine. Neuroscientists call it predictive coding. Your mind constantly compares the present moment with memories of the past, trying to forecast the future. If your past is filled with disappointment or scarcity, the brain predicts more of the same. So when you set a new intention, I want abundance, the subconscious replies, last time you tried that, it failed. Better prepare for lack. That single prediction can trigger the nervous system into survival mode. In survival, the body cannot distinguish between a real threat and an imagined one. Cortisol surges, adrenaline spikes, the heartbeat quickens. Instead of broadcasting abundance, your physiology broadcasts fear. The HeartMath Institute shows that when the heart rhythm is chaotic, as it is under stress, your awareness narrows. You literally become less able to perceive opportunities or synchronicities. In contrast, when the heart is coherent, awareness expands. Possibilities that were invisible suddenly appear. Overthinking destroys coherence. It is like measuring reality over and over with the same lens. In quantum mechanics, a particle exists in many states of probability until measured. Measurement collapses the wave into matter. But if you keep measuring with the same expectation, you collapse reality back into the same old pattern. That is what overthinking does. Instead of letting a new timeline emerge, the ego collapses it back into the familiar. Spiritual traditions have always warned of this. Buddhism calls it the monkey mind, the restless chatter that jumps from branch to branch. Lao Tzu wrote, Stop thinking and end your problems. He wasn't dismissing intelligence. He was pointing to the suffering created by endless analysis. Mystics understood what neuroscience now confirms: the mind's obsession with control is the very thing that blocks the flow of life. The irony is that overthinking feels productive. The ego whispers, "If I think harder, I'll find the solution." But in the quantum field, solutions don't come from harder thinking. They come from higher vibration. They come when the mind is quiet enough to hear intuition. Think about the moments when your best ideas arrived in the shower, on a walk, just before sleep. That wasn't overthinking. That was openness. That was space. So what do you do when you're caught in the loop? Step 1, awareness. Notice when the nervous system is revved up: tight chest, racing thoughts, shallow breath. Step 2, pause. Place your hand on your heart and breathe slowly. This simple act begins to reset the nervous system, moving you from survival into coherence. As the body calms, the static fades, the signal sharpens. Overthinking is not your fault. It is conditioning. But the moment you see it, you have a choice. You can keep collapsing the same timeline, or you can step into the unknown, trusting that the field responds not to your doubts, but to your coherence. Remember, you are not the ego. You are the observer. You are the signal. And when you stop letting the ego overthink, you finally give the universe permission to deliver what was waiting all along. The ego is clever. It rarely announces itself as pride or arrogance. More often, it hides behind the mask of logic, discipline, or responsibility. You think you are being practical, when in truth, the ego is quietly running the show. How can you tell? There are 3 hidden traps that almost everyone falls into on the path of manifestation. The first trap is repetition without embodiment. You repeat affirmations, you make vision boards, you speak your desires into the mirror, but you don't feel them as real. The words are there, but the vibration is not. Neuroscience calls this cognitive dissonance, the clash between thought and emotion. Your mind says, "I have it," but your body broadcasts, "I don't." Studies from the HeartMath Institute show that when heart and brain are incoherent, the signal becomes chaotic. The universe mirrors the signal, not the sentence. Repetition without embodiment is simply static dressed as effort. The way out is subtle but powerful. Instead of asking, "How many more times should I say this?" ask, "If I were already living it, how would I breathe? How would I walk? What choice would I make today?" Even a tiny action taken from that future self begins to bridge the gap. The second trap is demanding proof before trust. The ego whispers, "I'll believe it when I see it." But the quantum field operates the opposite way. You'll see it when you believe it. Waiting for evidence before you relax means your nervous system remains in survival mode. Cortisol stays high, the heart rhythm is erratic, and your body transmits a frequency of doubt. The result: the field mirrors the very uncertainty you're broadcasting. To shift, create a ritual of trust. It can be as simple as placing your hand on your heart, closing your eyes, and declaring, "I release control." This isn't begging the universe. It's a command to your nervous system. It tells your body, "We are safe. We are aligned." Almost instantly, the heart rhythm smooths, coherence returns, and the field hears a clean signal. The third trap is obsession with the how. The ego loves control. It wants the exact steps, the precise timeline, the guaranteed outcome. But in quantum physics, a particle exists in a superposition of possibilities until observed. When you fixate on the how, you collapse your field of potential into one narrow corridor. shutting out countless other ways the universe could deliver. The antidote. Remind your brain that it is not the sole architect. Write down 3 unexpected, even outrageous ways your desire could arrive. This practice retrains the nervous system to expand into possibility, rather than contract into control. These 3 traps: repetition without embodiment, proof before trust, and obsession with how have one thing in common, they all add noise. The ego feels safer when things are complicated. But the field does not respond to arguments. It only responds to vibration. Every time you stop checking the soil, every time you smile at the unknown, you protect coherence, and coherence is the only language the universe understands. So next time you catch yourself overcomplicating, pause. Whisper the declaration, "I release control." Let your heart step 1 beat ahead of your mind. In that moment, the static clears, and the mirror of reality reflects back the clarity you've chosen. Imagine holding a flashlight in the dark. It focuses narrowly on one spot, illuminating only what is directly in front of you, useful for survival. Yes, but limited. Now imagine standing in sunlight. The light radiates in all directions, touching everything at once. That is the difference between the ego and the higher self in manifestation. The ego is the flashlight. The higher self is the sun. When the ego drives, life feels like an endless project: deadlines, checklists, endless striving. Your body feels heavy, tense, uncertain. You ask, when will it happen? Why hasn't it happened yet? But when you shift into coherence, when your higher self takes the lead, manifestation feels light, expansive, inevitable. You don't chase the wave, you ride it. Science gives us a window into this transformation. Brain scans of advanced meditators show decreased activity in the default mode network, the part of the brain responsible for self-referential thinking, or ego chatter. At the same time, researchers observe increased synchronization across brain regions, what is called global coherence. Instead of fragmented signals, the brain begins to broadcast harmony. And when brain and heart align, the field responds with precision. People report spontaneous healings, uncanny synchronicities, outcomes that defy logic, not because they forced harder, but because they shifted from flashlight to sun. Spiritual traditions have always pointed here. The yogis spoke of dissolving the ahamkara, the false self. Mystics called it dying to the little self to awaken the divine. Neville Goddard taught that living from the end means embodying the desired state so fully that there is no gap between you and your manifestation. All different words. One truth: the ego keeps you separate. The higher self knows you are already whole. This doesn't mean action disappears. It means action becomes aligned. Instead of frantic steps taken in fear, you take efficient steps inspired by resonance. You don't waste energy trying to bend the ocean. You let the current carry you. And because you are aligned, the smallest step can move mountains. The emotional difference is unmistakable. Ego-driven action feels like strain. Higher self-action feels like flow. The ego is always scanning for danger, calculating timelines, clinging to control. The higher self rests in trust, radiates presence, and moves from clarity. From this place, manifestation ceases to be a chase. It becomes the most natural unfolding in the world. So here is the invitation notice when you are clutching the flashlight. Feel the strain in your shoulders, the tension in your chest. Then, ask yourself, what would it feel like to be the sun right now? Open your breath, widen your gaze, allow your energy to radiate instead of constrict. The moment you step into that radiance, The field has no choice but to reorganize around your light. The ego is not your enemy. It is simply an outdated filter, a voice built for survival in a world that no longer exists. Your task is not to destroy it, but to turn down its volume so that your true coherence can be heard. Quantum manifestation has never been complicated. It is the art of becoming the vibration of what you desire, so that the field can mirror it back with elegance. But here is the challenge: coherence must be stabilized. A single meditation, a fleeting moment of clarity, can open the door, but unless you anchor it, the ego will rush back in, insisting on control. That is why daily practice matters, not because the universe needs convincing, but because your nervous system does. There are 3 simple anchors that recalibrate your frequencies. Warning: choose your state before the world chooses it for you. Before opening your phone, sit quietly for 5 minutes. Place your hand on your heart. Name 3 emotions that belong to your future self-safety: abundance, gratitude. As you breathe, imagine inhaling one word and exhaling a smile. This programs the body to feel the future now. Midday. Take a 60-second reset whenever you feel the urge to control, to compare, or to rush. Stop. Breathe deeply. Whisper the declaration, "I release control." Let it be a switch, shifting your nervous system from survival to creation. Even 1 minute of coherence can redirect the entire day. Evening. Close the day by counting evidence of alignment. Write down 3 synchronicities, no matter how small: a kind word, a timely email, a moment of peace. This retrains your brain to notice that life is already responding, teaching your body that simplicity works. Remember, the field does not reward the one who tries hardest. It responds to the one who vibrates clearest. Ego will always whisper, "It can't be this easy. You're not doing enough." But your higher self knows better. Simplicity is quantum intelligence. Every time you choose simplicity over complexity, you shorten the distance between intention and reality. So pause with me now. Place your hand on your heart. Feel your breath. Whisper softly, "I release control." This is not weakness. This is alignment. You are no longer begging the universe. You are broadcasting. You are no longer chasing. You are receiving. You are not learning how to perform miracles. You are remembering that you already are one. Beyond the ego, manifestation is not a struggle. It is as natural as breathing. And when you live from coherence, simplicity collapses miracles in your favor every single time. If this message stirred something inside you, don't let it fade. Anchor it now. Take 1 simple action. Type in the comments below, "I release control." Let it be your public declaration to the field, your signal that you are ready to live beyond the ego. Finally, if this teaching resonated with you, share it with someone you love. Because the field amplifies when we rise together. And don't forget to subscribe, so you don't miss the next activation. Remember, the universe doesn't wait for effort, it responds to resonance. And the moment you align, miracles no longer hide.